Today we've got Jezza Williams on the podcast for the Run to Remember. Jezza's got an amazing story that he shares with us today. He's built a great company helping people with disabilities and people without to just kind of achieve goals in their lives. If you want to check him out, you can go to his website, which is Makingtrax with an X .co.nz. You can also check out their LinkedIn, which is Makingtrax. Their Instagram is makingtrax.co.nz, and same with the Facebook. It's been lovely having a chat to him, and hopefully there's some inspiring words for everyone. Good morning and welcome, Jezza. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Lucky, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit of my story and hopefully inspire some adventurers out there in this world.
Oh, absolutely. You've inspired me in researching you, watching different things. Absolutely. And I don't use that lightly at all. Truly an inspiration. For anyone that doesn't know your story, give us a bit of background. Who are you? Where'd you come from? What's your story?
Alrighty, far out. How long do we really have? So, yeah, my name's Jezza.
Yeah.
I am the founder of an organization in New Zealand called the Makingtrax Foundation. That's Makingtrax with an X if you want to look it up. And so where does my story begin? I suppose taking everything into consideration that Pete's running around and these as a sort of an idea to motivate people to join in this amazing campaign and get behind it is yeah, my background is very much I don't run actually. If I move like this, it's very smooth and styly. It's because
Yeah.
I'm sitting on wheels at the moment. So out there, Pete, awesome. Go for gold, buddy. So I haven't always been rolling around on these amazing wheels. I actually have done a fair bit of running in my time. But I grew up in a beautiful area in the Mackenzie district in the beautiful Aotearoa, New Zealand. And I grew up in a very beautiful place with playground on my doorstep. So from the age of 0, I was born into an adventurous life. And through that adventure, I have been to some of the most spectacular places on the planet. And also, God, Lockie, we're going to have to start again.
Oh, that's all right.
Sorry.
You're all right.
I was on fire, and then my father fricking
Texted you.
phoned me on the screen.
Oh, I get you.
Um,
You're all right.
hey, I'll give you a call afterwards, but I'm in the middle of a online podcast, and we're gonna have to start again. Love you, pops. Talk soon. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, really
No, you're
sorry.
right, mate. Don't be. It's all good.
Okay, let's that was a good start, but we
Yeah.
can do it. We can go. We'll start again. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take 2. What was the question again? Let's
Okay.
rock and roll.
Jezza, you're an inspiration. Tell us a bit about your story. Where'd you come from? Who are you?
Alrighty, here we go. Lockie, lovely to meet you. I've met your pops and I hear he's going for an epic run. So, Pete, I take my hat off to you. Running around at your age, that's that's inspirational, that is. So obviously I have been asked to share a little bit about myself. I'm not going to be running around. If you just take consideration, I'm actually moving smoothly. That
Yeah.
is because I'm sitting on some wheels. I haven't always been on these wheels, Lockie. I actually come from a very adventurous background. I grew up in the mountains of South Canterbury, Aotearoa, New Zealand, and lucky for me, I was exposed to some pretty outrageous environments, and I followed my entire life as an adventurer, running some beautiful rivers, mountains, etc., etc. And then, crazily enough, I had a accident in 2010, which was a while ago now,
Yep.
when I was guiding in the Swiss Alps. And we can talk about that later because everybody loves the nitty-gritty of things.
Yeah, yeah,
But at that point, I ended up breaking myself pretty badly, and I broke my C5 vertebrae up here. And because I had a lifetime in the outdoors, I decided to carry on. And
yep.
yeah, so I opened a foundation called the Makingtrax Foundation. And now it's been, I believe, nearly 13 years
Yeah.
running Makingtrax. And that is Makingtrax Foundation with an X. Look it up, everybody. And that there provides tours for people to come to Aotearoa and people in Aotearoa to experience ultimate adventure. And it doesn't matter what ability you have, we can organize something for you. It's pretty cool. It's a passion project, let's say. I
Love it.
am proceeding to create the adventure, adaptive adventure destination of the world
Yeah.
here in New Zealand. Because I tell you what, the amount of action and adventure we have in store for people. Doesn't matter if you have wheels to get around, doesn't matter if you like to sniff and touch more than see. We have everything for every ability, and that's what Makingtrax is all about.
Yeah, I love it. And what an awesome place of the world to kind of set up shop, hey?
Ah, look, Lockie, this is not a background. This is
Yeah.
New
This is
Zealand.
this is your backyard.
This is my backyard.
Oh, it's so
This is
cool.
what New Zealand is. This is the
Yep.
second largest national park in New Zealand, the Kahurangi National Park, just in behind me.
Yep.
Abel Tasman, just down the road. Yes,
Do
magic,
the,
magic
the
place.
mountains behind you there, they get any snow on them?
Um, thank goodness, not very often.
No.
We're at the top of the south, so
Yeah.
in a place called Abel Tasman, and it's like us. It's I shouldn't be saying this on on screen, but it's like the most warmest, beautifulest, most amazing place in the whole of the world, actually.
Yeah.
I found it because I've traveled everywhere
Yep.
and I settled in paradise.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But don't tell anyone, okay? Shh.
It can be our little secret.
That
Anyone
is
who's listening.
yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I agree. I've been lucky enough to travel a fair bit too, and been to New Zealand countless times. It is such a special spot. Like I think I remember my first time going there. We did the Milford Sound track with school, and I had just a crappy old little point and shoot disposable. Oh no, whatever, an old camera, right? Didn't matter where you looked or where you clicked. Everything looked like a postcard. It's just such a beautiful place. I love it. It holds a really, special spot in my heart. All of New Zealand, all of the offers that it kind of provides you. Yeah, so I know you might be a bit biased, but I absolutely agree with you.
Boom. Yeah, everybody that has not been here, they're jealous. I can
Oh
feel
yeah,
it right now. They're like, I want to go to New Zealand. Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah. Which is
yeah,
fair enough, but sadly, not everybody can live here. And in all honesty, there's not many people. There's not many shops. You know, it's there's not much historical architecture. So, you know, it's not for everybody.
you're trying to downsell it now, aren't you?
Yeah,
Downplay
yeah,
it. Yeah, yeah,
just in
yeah,
case
yeah.
we get too many people.
I love it. Protect it.
Protect it. Yeah, we got
Yeah,
sandflies.
yeah. Oh God,
That
don't
sand,
go.
do you know, but do you know that we put sandflies here to make sure people don't stay too long?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I love it. Is it true? I know this is a weird fact. Is it true there's no snakes? Is that true?
No, the snakes in New Zealand hang out in the cities.
Yeah, right. Love it. They're everywhere. Yeah, cool. So you touched on before. Let's get into it. What happened in 2010? What was the accident? Um, what did that mean? How did it change your life?
Yeah, I love it. This is the nitty gritty. This is like
Mm,
everybody loves to tune into these beautiful podcasts. Say, so yeah, where do we start? So like I was running, I'd say top of my game, and that means
yep.
I was adventure guiding. I was adventure
Hmm.
guiding. I was doing 4 summers in a year at that time. I was at the age of 35 in my prime.
Yep.
So I was like running multi-day trips on the Zambezi. Then I was flying up and running trips in Morocco. Then traveling to Switzerland and running trips there and Central America. And oh, life was just a box of fluffy ducks.
Yeah.
And when I was in Switzerland, I was working as a river guide and a canyon guide. And canyoning it's fun. It's
Yeah, I bet.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's not like Australian canyoning. This is like steep alpine, big waterfalls. Oh, epic stuff, you know? And me being a life adventurer, meaning I've jumped off pretty much everything and anything you can ever think of. I tended to do things a little bit more extravagant than the average person. And, when you're doing it every day,
Yep.
sometimes you can get a little bit, let's say, complacent. I will admit it. Okay.
Y-
Complacency came into the picture.
Sure.
A little bit showy offy. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
that.
I can get that. Yeah.
These things you learn with age. And I was standing at the top of a waterfall that I love to stand at the top of. And we had our clients, and I was in a hurry, and the water was a little bit higher than normal. And I always like to, show off. And I did this big, beautiful swan dive to land on my feet and make it all look extra spectacular, as you do.
Of
And
course. Yes.
yeah, and instead of it actually going the way that I thought it would go, I had a little slip prior to, and did my big swan dive out, and oh, whoops, didn't quite achieve the outcome that I
Mm.
wanted to, and ended up hitting rock. Hitting rock. And it was quite wild. I hit the back of my helmet. I've still got my helmet somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, just for memorabilia's sake, there's
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little gang in the back of it. And I actually compressed my spinal cord right up here, my C5, C6.
Yeah.
So then I'm in at the bottom of a waterfall, and I remember it. It was pretty wild. I
Yeah.
face down and I saw my hand go in front of me, and I couldn't actually move it or anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I was like, ooh, ooh. And after that, like, obviously your brain gets a little bit like, this is a pretty full-on situation to be in. Bottom
Sure.
of a waterfall in a canyon in Switzerland, face down in the water, and my head is not connected to my body.
Oh, wow.
And luckily for me, I had an incredible buddy with me who pretty much saved my life. So
Mm.
he rolled me over correctly because we are guides, professional guides, we
Yep.
train
Yep.
in this stuff. And we went through the emergency procedures. 45 minutes later, I was getting airlifted out of the canyon on a 250-meter long line, uh,
Wow.
which is pretty, by that time they'd filled me full of drugs and I can't really remember it. And my photographer, he deleted the photos because he thought I was going to die, which is a bit of a
Yeah.
shame
Right.
because
Yeah.
I'd love to have them, just for memorabilia's
Of
sake.
course.
Yeah, because it would have been pretty epic. I talked to the pilot and the rescuer afterwards, and they were like, whew, that was pretty gnarly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then up and out to a Swiss hospital. And yeah, from that moment forward, she was a pretty wild journey. 11 months in rehab, learning to live again
Hmm.
in Switzerland. And then back to good old Kiwi land for round two. Yeah, so it was quite a journey, let's say, learning
Oh,
to
yeah.
breathe, eat,
Wow. Yeah.
um, move. Yeah, it
Mm.
was sort of like a rebirth. Um,
Yeah,
coming out
totally.
the other side. Yeah, I consider myself really lucky because I've had two lives, and most people just get one.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Love
Yeah,
it. Was
yeah.
it like 11 months is a long time? Like, how long were you meant to be over there? Was that the goal before the accident? Were you living there?
Oh no, like I never had a fixed abode.
Sure.
I was a, I was a gypsy king. So
Yeah,
I
cool.
traveled, for work.
Yeah,
I did not work to travel like most
sure. I love it.
people.
Yep, yep, yep.
And so what I was lucky enough is I got to work as a professional, so we get transported all over the world. So 5 months in Switzerland, 3 months and Zambia, 7 weeks in Morocco, just running the where the water is, where the
Mm-hmm.
rains are, you go. Yeah,
Sure.
pretty exciting sort of stuff. Yeah, so 11 months, yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
holiday. Yeah,
Sure.
a long one. Yeah, I
And
didn't
then,
really have to, do too much. So,
yeah,
mate, I think two of those months I was pretty much, in ICU. One of
yeah,
those months I was knocked out, so I
yeah,
can't even remember it. I've
yeah, sure.
got a few memories, but no, they knocked me out. It was a pretty wild journey because it was a waterfall accident. So I'm pretty much all steel like the Bionic Man now, and
Yeah.
but I had near drowning and all sorts of bits and pieces. So my lungs clapped like 7 times.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty touch and go there for a while.
Yeah.
Hey, it was a long time ago now, and if I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't be the person I am now.
Oh,
And
for
I'm
sure.
pretty proud of who I am now. So
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
worries whatsoever.
Yeah, that's it. Up and on,
Up and
mate.
onwards.
Yeah, up and onwards. Is there a reason that they kept you there? Like you didn't come straight back to New Zealand?
Um, well, for a start, I'd much rather stay in Switzerland.
Sure.
They know what they're doing,
Yeah, yeah.
And I had in Swiss insurance as a worker there, so
Uh-huh.
yeah, which was pretty lucky because
Yeah.
I think it was like to be in Notwell, which is probably the world's class premier place. It was about over 6,000 euro or Swiss francs a day.
Wow.
And that's before all the specialized treatment and
Yeah.
intensive care and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm like $1 million child.
Yeah, you got your money's worth out of your insurance,
I
that's for sure.
totally got my money's worth. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. And then when you came back, how was that adjusting to coming back,
No,
home?
in all honesty, Lockie, that was the lowest point in probably my life.
Yeah.
Because I come back to New Zealand and it was winter. All my mates were out there, loving life and adventuring and enjoying. And I was, in a house that I couldn't get out of that easily at that point in time. It was hard, bro.
Mm,
I honestly, it was, yeah, and it was so slow, you know, and that's like a lot of people live slow lives, but
yeah, not
I,
yours.
no, never.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was slow, and that was like quite a game changer. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and if everything for a start was hard. Yeah, I was not the healthiest. And yeah, it wasn't fun. For
Did
the
you think?
first year, I'd say it was intense, and I
Mm-hmm.
had to, but I didn't just sit there and feel sorry for myself. I went to the gym like 3 times a week. I joined a local wheelchair rugby team. I did all these things to sort of get my body back physically, but I didn't really start ripping until I had a epiphany.
Hmm. Which was?
Shall I tell you?
Yeah, tell on.
Because I'm building it up like one
Yeah,
of
I
the
love it.
movies.
Yeah.
So for years, I loved a challenge. Yeah, I
Yep.
loved, that's why I ran rivers. That's why I did canyons. That's why I traveled to crazy places like the Darien and, did all these, lived in Central America and, did silly stuff. And I wrote out, it's because I love a challenge, because
Mm-hmm.
I love to adventure, you
Yes.
know, to undertake a task without knowing the outcome. So I just transformed my mind to believe that everything I do is a challenge. So my house is now a class 5 river. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have to be able to do things without thinking about the outcome too much.
Mm-hmm.
Adventuring. So every day became an adventure. Every day I would push it a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Every day the challenges made me stronger because as we learn in adventure environments, is when we're challenged, we excel.
Mm-hmm.
We grow.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody grows in easy times. Everybody grows in difficult times. So that psyche in my mind to develop through challenge became my epiphany of a stronger life. And it was just to get better every day, to challenge myself every day. And yeah, it went from tiny challenges to absolutely stupid ones. And here I am now.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. Well,
Yeah.
that kind of answered the question I was going to ask was, did you think the adventure was over and what got you back in it? But I think that's awesome. Like it wasn't over. It just started again and it was little bit by bit. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool to hear like how your mind was growing as well.
Yeah, it was pretty looking back now, I'm glad I chose the challenge.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I understand a lot of people, it's difficult for life changes,
Mm-hmm.
but even through COVID, businesses, relationships, everything, everything's challenging. And
Mm,
sometimes we look at it as not so much of a challenge, but as a barrier. Um, and a barrier is something that you can put on yourself. And a challenge is something that you can create for yourself.
mm. Yeah, I think I am a teacher at a community college, and you don't need to know everything to be a good teacher. You just got to know how to find the answers. And I say that to the students, everything's a learning lesson. Everything, whether it's good or bad, you can turn it and go, what have I learned from this? How can I look at it from a different perspective? And sounds like the same sort of thing, is what you're saying.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Um, and now obviously we can focus on the bad, but I don't want to. We're focusing on the good. And you've created a lot of good after this. Um, you've given a lot of other people inspiration, purpose. What was the moment you realized I can not just make my life better and get back control? How can I help others? Was there a moment?
Well, when you go through what I've been through, you become more empathetic
Hmm.
and understanding. You see other people's challenges more. Um, and with the slowing of life, you think a lot more.
Oh.
So for a start, I got back into my personal self, and with adventure, with travel. So I started, going with my mates, getting outside, doing raft trips, going paragliding, tandem paragliding, going kayaking, just testing my body. And then when I sort of started doing that, I was like, well, it's not really fair that I can do it and a lot
Hmm.
of other people can't. And actually, when I was in not well in my rehab, I had a lot of time to think too. And during that time, I knew that I needed to carry on. So when I was in Notwell in the first few months, I came up with the idea of creating a business called Makingtrax, and I came up with the logo ideas, with the business concept, and all that sort of thing. So it was always in the back of my mind.
Cool.
Um, and then I'd say in 2012, so I've been in Notwell for 11 months. I've been home for a winter and a bit of a summer. I went back to Europe again to my sister's wedding, which was cool because, just getting that traveling buzz happening again.
Yeah.
And then when I came home that next summer, 2012, my birthday, I unleashed the idea and the concept of making tracks.
Hmm.
And from that point, it was more to stay, a little selfish, to stay in the industry and to be able to enjoy and that sort of thing. And honestly, it's just evolved. I've
Yeah.
evolved, the business has evolved. Well, it's not a business, it's a charitable trust. And I was sort of at the right place at the right time. And the
Yep.
other thing for me, it's sort of a passion project because I looked into the industry at that time, the outdoor industry within people with disabilities and being able to get out there and experience what I could experience, and it just was non-existent. So it's a passion project for myself to create and make adaptations and adapt the industry to understand what really is possible because
Hmm.
we don't know our potential until we push that limit. And
Mm.
nobody had pushed that limit with a lot of things. And so I took it upon myself to push that limit because as a tetraplegic, you know, if I could do it, then pretty much anybody can do it.
Yeah, cool.
And so I just became my own guinea pig and yeah, tested myself on some pretty outrageous sort of things.
Yep.
Um, and did some pretty outrageous points just to prove to myself what I can achieve. And that
Hmm.
was from the idea of challenge, doing some things like the Mongol Rally, for example,
Yep.
32,000 kilometers and a couple of Yaris's through Eurasia and back through Russia and these sort of things, sort of camping everywhere and getting
Yep.
back into rafting and making harnesses for rafting and skydiving and paragliding, learning a paraglide, getting a paragliding license, doing all these things and then really just learning from myself what I can do for others and then working with other people and other people that have disabilities and people in not such an easier space as I am. Because, I always one of my quotes I came up with the other day for a paper I was working on was you know, adventure has been my foundation and my daily challenges is my superpower.
Mm.
So if I can share that with the world, trust me, everybody would look to people with disabilities and put them first
Yeah.
because they're all superheroes.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like one of the bigger challenges is the perception of people, or is it the physical things that are harder? People with disabilities kind of getting out there and doing their own adventures.
Um, it's not the physical barriers. Trust
Sure.
me. Yeah. It is it's people's mindset.
Yep.
I have have you ever heard of a mind flex?
Oh, no.
So mind flex, that's what it's all about. Yeah, I learned that when I went to one of Pete's talks, actually.
Ah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really funny. So when I did a talk for Pete, was in Auckland, and one of the speakers was talking about mindflex, and I'm like, that's it. It's a mindflex. So mindset's really bad, but because we've had a lot of especially in New Zealand, there's been lots of segregation in schools and sports and and we talk about inclusion, but it's not integrated inclusion.
Sure.
It's oh yeah, you'll come to my place and I'm not going to change anything for you.
Sure.
So it's definitely what the pressures are put on people through that segregation on both sides,
Yeah.
on the society and on the individuals, especially the
Hmm.
young individuals. We have what's called an implicit social bias through segregation. And what that's done is it's created a them and us
Mm.
industry. And it's really difficult for a lot of people to be treated with cotton wool or treated differently through their physical disability, whereas the opposite should be, um, driven
Mm.
for people to actually understand that, a challenge makes you more of a human being.
Mm.
And if they had that, because honestly, I can speak from my own experience. I am way more empathetic. We don't teach empathy in schools. We should. I am
Mm.
way more empathetic. I am way more understanding. I am way more patient. I have more of an adaptive mind. I think outside the box. I look at everything as a challenge. I've got all of these beautiful parts of me that has been built in after going through what I've been through. I
Hmm.
had beforehand, I was a river guide. I was a mountain boy. I probably thought I was King Bloody Kong. And I of course I obviously I've always been a nice person, but that growth that I've had since my injury has created somebody that I'm very, 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 very proud of. And when I meet and enjoy people, I meet and enjoy people.
Mm.
And the people that I surround myself with are people that believe in the same philosophy as I do. And the businesses that Makingtrax works with, they believe in the same philosophy that I do. And that is everybody's equal. That is everybody faces challenges. That is an ability does not represent humanity. And that if people are awkward around me, it's good because
Mm.
me being in their presence creates that awkwardness. And then that power of my connection with them will create a more understanding concept. The thing we have is the power of connection is more important than anything. And that's where Makingtrax comes into it a lot with, I believe in total integration and inclusion through adventure. I can't do it in school, so I can't do it in sports, but I can do it in the tourism industry.
Hmm.
And it is the power of connection is massive to understand that we all have different abilities, whether it's emotional, physical, social, intellectual. Nobody in my mind is perfect. We're all on what's the word? We're all on a sliding scale, you know? And for myself, I'm not the most physicality. I'm not going to go and do a run to
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
However, I can do a lot for other people. I can educate. I can provide so much. And that's what I do. And it's through the passion of what I do that creates hopefully more passion in other people. And it's the power of connection. We should be
Yeah.
more connected to each other. If you feel awkward around people, it's your issue. And it's like if you can't swim, you're scared of the water. You're feeling awkward around the water. Learn to swim. And
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're feeling awkward around people that have a disability or or you are disabled and you feel awkward around people without, then challenge yourself.
Yeah, I love it. I think you're right. I've always been a very curious person, and um, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, but always willing to have a chat with someone and get to know their perspective on life. And I think that's kind of what you're touching on there, right? Everyone's perspective is their own, and you can only really see someone else's when you get to know them a little bit. And if you're scared and it's awkward or you're a bit uncomfortable, sometimes that's the best time, is that like we do grow in those times, and you can feel pretty down on yourself, I guess, when you only focus on your own perspective. When you get to hear other people's and see other challenges, you realize, oh, we are all in this together. We are all going through different things. And yeah, a little bit more empathy in the world is definitely needed. Definitely.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Yeah. In that, is there something that you think people without a disability take for granted, other than like some obvious things? Is there something? It could be just that, maybe the perspective, but
Um, yeah, as we all judge, and people say, I don't judge. We all
sure.
judge, it's built into us. It comes from the day when we were clan members and we like to stick with our own clan.
Hmm.
Um, I feel that a lot of people are a little bit oblivious to the fact that everybody has something to offer.
Hmm.
Um, and that offering can be something that you can possibly provide somebody without knowing it.
Mm.
I also think that slowing down and thinking a little bit about how your life can be better through focusing on your um not your ability, but being more in touch and in tuned, because I've learnt through having my challenging life that it's more, I love to give. I love to be able to make people smile. I love to, it's that empathy
Mm.
that I didn't have prior to. And it gets deeper and stronger. Man, I cry in every film. I cry when something silly happens, if I'm watching any show, if I talk to somebody around a table about something, I get tears in my eyes. It's it's a it's not a weakness. It's really weird, but it's quite uplifting. Like it's not a sad tear. It's just a very emotional effect I get. And I never had that
Mm.
prior to my slowing down and understanding people. Um, it's kind of like this, somebody's touched me on the shoulder and given me this, I don't know, I'll call it a gift, but
Hmm.
it's understanding people, like being able to go into a room and feel people.
Hmm.
Um, and it's really uplifting. And
Mm.
being able to share that with somebody else, whether they're able-bodied or whether they have a disability, but slowing down enough to actually get that feeling, which you should have from a child, but to get it back
Hmm.
is been really outrageous. Yeah, it's pretty weird. I don't know how to explain it, Lockie, but it's something that I've gained, that I think that if everybody slowed down a little bit and really, enjoyed their presence and enjoyed what they have, and not their beautiful couch in their lovely home or their horrible couch in their leaky home, but
Hmm.
themselves, to
Mm.
really just feel themselves
Mm.
and feel people around them. I think that is a gift that I've been given. And it can be a good thing and it can be a bit annoying, but
Yeah, sure.
it is something that I would really feel that the more people get that part of their life, the more opportunities they can provide other people, which will give them more of that feeling, which they'll give more
To
to other
others.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I do. I really relate to what you're saying. I feel that I am quite an emotional person as well. And sometimes it's that saying of like, stop and smell the roses. Sometimes whether it's to stop and appreciate where you are in a physical setting of like a beautiful place, or whether it's the emotions inside you. Sometimes, personally, the first emotion I feel a lot of the time is anger. And if I stop and think about it and really feel it, it's not anger. That's just the first thing that came up. There's something deeper. And yeah, I do relate to you there about like it can be easy to just kind of keep going and not think about things, and not make connections with people because it's maybe, you're going to be late. Maybe you're going to be home later than you wanted because you stop and talk. But in that stop and making connection with someone, something beautiful can happen. Um, yeah,
Totally.
yeah,
Totally.
yeah. Um, Look, I've got a bit of a selfish question here. I wasn't sure if I was going to ask it, but tell me a bit about paragliding. I've never done it. I really would love to do it. Um, is it hard? Is it expensive? What are the rules? Obviously, they're different everywhere, but
So paragliding is it's an interesting one because a lot of people think paragliding is like an adrenaline sport, but it's not.
no, it looks very
Paragliding,
calming.
yeah, it's so calming and weird. So why I really like paragliding is because I have been a water boy my whole life. I love rivers.
Hmm.
If I drive across a river, I don't look at a river like most people look at a river. I look at it as art.
Mm,
Every part of the river has a different part to it. It has a current, the main stream.
hmm.
It
Hmm.
has eddies where the water goes behind the eddies. It has faster movements in the middle, different movements on the top due to air, different movements on the bottom due to the drag of the water. So every piece of that river is running at a different speed. And it's nature. And when you
Mm,
learn to harness that nature, you can carve in and out and you can just move in a very graceful, natural way. Now, kayaking is very difficult, and a lot of people cannot get that feeling because of the level of intensity and how much you have to put into it. However, paragliding is exactly the same as a river, but it's moving that so much slower. Like,
mm,
and it's also invisible. So, paragliding is a three-dimensional movement in the wind. So
hmm.
you don't see where the air is flowing. The air is flowing in all different directions. And when you're paragliding, it is just you and that flow.
Hmm.
And the more you understand that flow and that feel, the more addictive it becomes.
Mm,
It's like a total connection with the environment. It's beautiful. Paragliding
mm.
is absolutely it's beautiful. It's not just going up and going woohoo,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and overs and coming down again. It's the whole entire approach of how it flows.
Mm,
So for me, it's actually the only sport that I can do that is solo and
yep.
within that three-dimensional flow of nature.
Mm,
So yeah, it's really fun. I don't do it so much these days, due to the fact that I'm a tetraplegic and it's pretty dangerous for me personally to fly solo.
hmm.
And I've got other goals and ambitions these days.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
Other people in my family that I need to put before myself, and
Yeah.
you know, reality, uh,
Yeah.
which is another gift that I have that is just as powerful, if not more. And plus the amount of what I'm doing with creating new movements within the Makingtrax Foundation, and
Hmm.
giving to others these days more than myself, if that
Yeah.
makes.
Oh, absolutely, it does. Yeah. Is it, do you need, like, how many people do you need to kind of help you get up in the air? Because obviously, once you're up there, that's the easy part, I imagine.
Well, me personally, I just need a couple of people. One person to help me inflate the paraglider, another person to push me off the mountain.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
yeah, it's pretty simple, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But that's me. When for other people, in New Zealand, if you do have a disability, for example, we've got paragliding buggies that
Hmm.
are certified to fly commercially. And people can come and learn to paraglide if they want, or just have a paragliding experience with some of the best tandem paragliding pilots in the world in some beautiful places. And
Mm,
for yourself. Learning to paraglide, it's not a difficult thing to do. And you can also obviously do tandem just to see how you feel. But when you do a tandem, it's nothing like flying
on
solo.
your own. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can imagine. What's the hardest part when you're up there?
coming down.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
There is one thing that's kind of funny with paragliding is you have to be really conservative when you're flying. Me, Jezza.
Yep. Yep, sure.
Because it's way better to be down there going, I wish I was up there, than being up there and going, I wish I was down there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I've had times when I've been up there and I'm going, I wish I was down there,
Yeah, yeah.
because the wind's getting too strong and it's
Yeah,
getting pretty full on and it's getting pretty scary. And yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Where's your favorite place? Like, have you done
My
it in
favorite place to
other countries?
fly would probably, well, it's difficult. My favorite flight was off Triple Cone,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
in Wanaka.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it was amazing. It was during the colder season,
Yeah.
so very dense air, but just a magical day. And just with the air being a little bit more stable, I could get really close into the
Mm,
waterfall and do
cool.
some really awesome spirals. And it was just, yeah, pretty epic.
Yeah.
Just that day for me was just, yeah,
Mm,
an intense day, let's say.
mm,
Was you know, where I had to take off from was like a base jump, and
hmm.
where I flew was just, oh yeah, I'll hold on to that one for the rest of my life, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm actually going over there. My youngest brother, Jack, is getting married there next year. So we might have to have a look. Is there places that you can go around there, Queenstown, Wanaka, that you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
do it?
totally.
Yep.
I think look up Wanaka paragliding.
S-
Um
Simple.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there
Wanaka.
you go.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I really want to do it. And like, yeah, obviously it has that adrenaline. It does. It can be a bit scary, but to me, it's like I've always watched them, and it's almost like you're watching kind of a falling leaf in the wind, right? It just kind of looks so calm, and just kind of the views you get. Um, yeah, yeah, it's on the bucket list, that's for sure. Now, I said at the start, and I do really mean it. You're an inspiration, and the things you do are inspiring to lots of people. Um, do you have a moment, or is there like a story where someone's come up to you and said, "Hey, like you've inspired me and helped change my life"? I'm sure there's heaps.
That's really embarrassing. Yeah, it does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, yes, of course it's lovely.
Mm.
And but I sometimes I don't know how to handle
Yeah, sure. Fair enough. Yeah.
it. Like, I don't do it for
Hmm.
gratitude. I
Yep.
do it for because I'm good at it, and I don't want anybody else to mess it up, pretty
Love it.
much.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah.
Because I know I can do a better job because I have the body, I have the experience, I have the knowledge, and I can keep it professional, safe,
Hmm.
and and nowadays I also assist with businesses to really start thinking about inclusive tourism and with understanding what access guides are and understanding how to do information properly and understanding their clients and
Hmm.
these are all things that I understand. For me, it's simple, and I want to share that knowledge. This is my 30th year in the outdoor industry. So, and that's going fast. So,
Yeah, sure.
I don't mess about.
Hmm.
When I say 30th year, that's like 90th year for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the average human. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's for me nowadays assisting with access within access and inclusion. Access being the physical structure, inclusion being the service structure. There, yeah, for me, it's a walk in the park. It's easy. If I call myself now an adaptive advisor.
Uh-huh.
So anybody, if they want to do a trip in New Zealand, then they can just contact me via my WhatsApp, which was on my website, the little
Hmm.
WhatsApp logo-y things. Or if a business wants to better understand their client or their access, then they can contact us. They can join the Makingtrax movement, which is a subscription-based donation. And we help them develop their product to become best practice, not minimum
Nice.
standard, which is
Yeah.
which is the most important because it's all about best practice. Best practice in life means best practice in everything that we do.
Yeah, 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 for sure. I think like I saw that you do a bit of risk management helping. What do you think is something that's going to be the biggest risk for Pete on the run?
Uh, Dehydration.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Also pushing himself more than he thinks, because he's got a lot of people that are relying on him and he
Mm,
has that on his shoulders.
mhm.
Um, and just thinking of himself a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
rather
good.
than just going for it because of all that pressure. Uh,
Hmm.
I think are his two biggest things to be conscious of.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think hydration. I'm just like Dad. We sweat profusely. Yeah, and you lose a lot. Staying hydrated. He's got a good crew around him that they'll help with that. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of pressure there. There's a lot of time when you're on the road with the sun beaming down and thoughts going through your head. And you're right, that can kind of work with you and work against you. And staying true to kind of yourself and your own limits is pretty important because it's not just a day, it's a long time, you know.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, Talking about hands and the run, how did you guys get connected?
Um, well, Pete, he contacted me to do some public speaking
Hmm.
for him. They
Yep.
call it inspirational speaking. I don't
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
it
Sure.
inspirational speaking. I just call it speaking.
Yeah.
But sharing my story.
Yeah.
So we were going to do it with the Australian circuit and the New Zealand circuit, but due to COVID, I never got to Australia.
Right.
But I did do one with him in Auckland,
Yep.
which was really lovely and successful. And then he was kind enough to put me on the cover of his magazine,
Cool. Yep. Love
the
it.
first ever edition.
Yes.
Um, so that was really sweet of him.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, we've just stayed in touch since then, and yeah, a really genuine man, your father.
Mm.
I'm sure it's difficult uh, you know, being the son and following the footsteps, but I think that just talking to you today has made me realize that. he must be a very special man to make a lovely son like yourself,
Oh,
Lockie.
thanks. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, look, it is. It's talking about kind of the expectations you put on yourself and others, and yeah, it is sometimes hard following in his footsteps to go. Um, I said, I've got two young boys. One's 2.5 now, Patrick, and another one, Harrison, who's 5 months, 4 months old or something. And I said I just want to do the right thing by them, and then my goal is that they are just a little bit better than me. That's the end goal, and I don't know that I can do that myself for dad. I don't know. I'm still figuring out, and we measure our kind of success differently, right? All of us. So I got to keep that into perspective.
And remember that what we said before, we have to think of ourselves sometimes and
Yeah,
not put pressure on us to perform to other people's levels. Just I always because I've got Charlie in my life now and he's 12. I've already had my boy Quinn and Quinn is 25 and my boy is just like oh unbelievable. Yeah, he's way better than me. He's also a river guide, but
yep.
he's just his humanity is oh I yeah, unbelievable. So I'm extremely proud. And
Mm,
now my partner's boy, Charlie's in my world and he's 12 and he's a rock star. He's a legend. He's got blue hair
yeah.
and he loves BMXing and going hard. But yeah, one thing that I really want to inspire in Charlie is just not compete with other people and just compete with yourself and better yourself every single day.
Mm.
It's the
Run your
best.
own race.
Run your own race. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
We've
got no
actually,
no point in competing with other people because everybody's different and what you see in other people is not always the reality of it all. It's like
absolutely.
it's like Instagram, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know the cartoon Bluey?
I
Have you heard of it?
do know it because yes, kids
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
yeah, they
Yes.
do. I mean,
Yes.
it's kids of all ages. It's all over the world now. It's a pretty
I've
cool
never
show.
watched it. I've
Oh, you got
never
to
ever
watch one.
watched
They're
it. No,
very
no.
special. From what you said, you'll definitely cry. Like every episode hits you in the heart. But we've got a little book, and it's actually called The Baby Race, and it's pretty much that. It's the parents kind of saying to the kids, like, run your own race, like, don't compare yourself to others. That's the message of it, and yeah, it's a pretty strong message.
Good. Well done,
Yeah,
Bluey. I'm proud of
yeah, yeah. Check it
you.
out. Who would you say is your biggest inspiration?
Why don't you throw that one at me? My biggest inspiration is like over my time running Makingtrax, I've even done helped with um individuals on certain trips. And my largest inspiration in life are kids that have had really difficult um lives.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I some of them jump out you know, incredibly I did a trip just recently down in Queenstown with a family and a young girl and she had tetraplegic, um, cerebral palsy, can't, can't talk, can't drink, can't eat, can't communicate properly,
Mm,
but still keeps a smile on her face. Yeah. And I've had a young guy that passed away now, sadly, but he had locked-in syndrome, and we took him and did some ultimate trips with him as well. These kids, yeah, unbelievable. Just yeah,
mm,
just the life that they've been given and the positivity that they put out there to the world, even if it's only for a short time, is something that everybody should understand, meet,
yeah.
learn from,
Mm,
and be inspired to be inspired, full stop, just to see and feel and experience. Yeah, that value of connection, just those weeks or moments with those kids is just, yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, Look, I think we kind of wrap things up, but I'd like to see if you've got any advice or final words for Dad or anyone else undertaking a challenge like this, pushing the limits.
Yeah, definitely. So as I said before, I love adventure. Adventure is a moving target. So don't set a goal and go for it. Set a goal and then realize it's a moving target.
Mm,
Every moment, every hour, every instant, everything changes. You have to think adaptively. You have to think for that moment in time. Don't think of a final outcome, and do it as an adventure, and that is to undertake a task without knowing the outcome. It means
mm,
it's a it is it's that moving target, and it will be a challenge, and it's about taking each challenge as they come, not looking at all of them at once. Yeah,
mm.
and understanding it's always moving, always.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, yeah, love it. Jezza, it's been awesome chatting. I really appreciate it. Your insights. You're an awesome person. I know it makes you a bit uncomfortable to say it, but you are an inspiration. Um, yeah, mate. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure, Lockie. Yeah, please wish Peter. Well, I wish Peter, if he sees this, Peter, you're a legend. Enjoy. Don't push yourself too hard. And everybody listening to this, please take a moment and check out Makingtrax with an X, the foundation. And yeah, maybe you can send me a quick message and give some support, or if I need to give you some support, let me know. And Lockie, an absolute lovely time speaking with you today. Thank you for the
Thanks,
opportunity.
mate. Thank you.